Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Newcastle United returned to the Premier League on Monday, Boxing Day, to take on Leicester City at the King Power Stadium and picked up a fantastic 3-0 win away from home, 2-0 up in 7 minutes, a really comprehensive win. We had all the ball, we had all the shots, and it is a huge 3 points on the board, which puts Newcastle, at the time of recording, into second place in the Premier League. Had you offered me, at the start of the season, second place in the league by this point, I was going to say I would have ripped both your legs and your arms and your head off for that, but to be honest, I'm not sure I would have believed you. But we have been so good this season. The first half of the season was incredible. We go into the break, we come out, we win the friendly, we win the cup game, and it was the return of the Premier League. We went full force, we were hoping to see a win. We got it, and we're really hoping we can see what we can do the rest of this season. People are talking about, Europe, top 4. There's even some people talking about challenging for the title. But we won't talk about that just today. The point is, we're up there, we're playing well, and we want to keep it going. And I will be at the game at St James's Park on New Year's Eve when we take on Leeds at home. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so. I'll have the vlog, the reactions, and hopefully I'll be celebrating with a few points after as we head into the new year. But, as I say, what a year it's been, and what a game it was on Boxing Day. There was fantastic performances all over the pitch. Almiron scoring a very, very nice goal. That guy is on fire at the moment, taking a lot of plaudits. Joe Linton throwing himself in there with a header, and generally speaking, the defence, Nick Pope made a decent save at the end. A real all-around performance from the side, but it was Bruno who picked up that Man of the Match award. Really good performance from him. And in fact, some photos that he put on Twitter the evening of the game actually led to a certain someone of the opposition side potentially hinting at where his future might lie this January window. So we will talk a little bit about that as well. But generally speaking, we've got the game against Leeds on New Year's Eve. And then we head into this January window. And it's getting a lot of people very excited. I think one of the big things right now is that we're second place in the league right now at the time of recording. I know Man City actually play later on as I speak, but generally we're having a good season. And you think right now what we could potentially add this January window to see us through to the end. It's gonna be a big window. Generally speaking, we did a lot of good work in the summer, and we've been playing really good. It's not to say that if we don't go out and do something this January, then it means we can't keep playing the way we are, because we're already doing great. But if we could just add that little something extra to really try and push us forward through to the end of the season, it could be really important. And as I've mentioned, when we've put ourselves into pole position, we've got the owners in who want to see the club succeed. We're in that place. We've got the money to spend. I'm excited to see what happens over the next month. Despite the fantastic win against Leicester on Boxing Day, what we also found out on that day was some injury news. Callum Wilson was unable to feature, thankfully. That is because of illness, and we are hoping to see him back against Leeds on New Year's Eve. But Jonjo Shelvey, it's been revealed that he will now be out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. It's really disappointing because Jonjo Shelvey, like pretty much every player that we've got, was striving under the new regime and under Eddie Howe. Not long ago, I was talking about whether Shelvey lost his legs, was he not bothered, what was going on. All of a sudden, he looked the fittest he'd ever been in this pre-season and picked up a knock and was going to be unavailable until pretty much now. Returned a little bit early before the World Cup break. He's now going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Interestingly, Jonjo Shelvey's contract is set to end at the end of this season, but he has in place an extension that if he played so many games for the club, he would receive an extra year. It's understood that he only had to play an extra 1 or 2 games, and now he's out for another 6 to 8 weeks, so it actually leaves a bit of a question mark as to whether Shelvey could pick up a new contract or not. But generally speaking, we talk about the chance to use this January window to try and push on this season through our position in the table, but also is it a chance to, look a place in centre midfield, a position that we've spoken about in the summer as maybe needing strengthening. Now it's confirmed that Shelvey will be out for even longer. Will we act, and could we look to strengthen that position? Now, let's not forget that in the summer, you talk about Callum Wilson having injuries, question marks over whether Chris Wood was enough. We went out and spent and bought Isak. Now, in the January window, we have a similar situation with players, yes, like Bruno and Joe Linton and Willock, who are smashing it. Sean Longstaff's been really good as well, but a player that we had really hoped to come back and almost be like a signing to help that position is no longer going to be available. And there are obviously links coming out, quite a few with Leicester, to be honest. Tillerman's a player that we were linked with back in the summer. Obviously, he plays in that centre midfield role. Is he someone we could go for? Maybe. It's understood that he's available, basically, because his contract's ending, so there's quite a lot of talk as to whether he could be a player we'll go for. So a lot of the reports and links at the moment are these kind of players who are available this January window because their contracts are ending or for other various reasons. But generally speaking, January, it's a tough window. There's often not a lot of time and players are often more expensive than you'd like to pay. But it's an opportunity for Newcastle, as I say, to try and add to what has already been a very good season so far, to potentially fill a position there in the midfield that could need help, and a certain player that I think a lot of Newcastle fans are hope to hear more on, who I think would certainly help our hopes this season and would potentially fit that centre midfield gap, as I say, depending on how we play. Yeah, it's James Maddison, and I have spoken about him already before, and it's a player that there's a lot of excitement about. The fact that he didn't play against us in the last game, yeah, you can read into it what you will, but it's more promising that he didn't play than had he have played. It's understood that he picked up a late injury, which is why he wasn't available. We've already heard Maddison talking in interviews about the Newcastle lads while he was away with England, which I thought was a little bit brave of him to be so brazen about the fact that, I'm getting on with these guys so well when there's so many links coming out. He then gets to the game at the weekend and he seemed like all the Newcastle lads' best mates. He's going around saying hello, patting everybody on the back. I'm thinking, you're on the camera, but you know what it is, maybe, yeah, who knows? But there's that. And then, as I say, one thing that happened, which I actually had to write down because at the time I was gobsmacked. Bruno posted his photo on Twitter of the fact that he'd won man of the match. In the background, there was a photo of James Maddison. Now, let's be honest, if Maddison liked it, then yeah, it is what it is. They're all footballers, they're all colleagues to a degree, and had he liked that photo, then fair play. He didn't like that photo. Instead, DYL on Twitter put a comment underneath saying, Maddison in the background, it's a sign. So, fair comment from DYL, taking a bit of a joke. Maddison's in the background of Bruno's photo. James Maddison liked that comment. So he didn't just like the photo, he liked the comment that somebody had put, Maddison in the background, it's a sign, exclamation mark. And then he liked it, and then very quickly after that, unliked it. So was it an accident, or did he get told off by his agent? Who knows? There's a lot of... yeah, in it, as I say, take it for what it is. Maybe I'm jumping far too high at something that doesn't matter, but there's some big hints and links coming out about this Maddison one, and that's the thing for me. You talk about positions, and look, I think the fact that Shelvey being out for another 6 to 8 weeks, the season hasn't got that long left. I think he'll make it back before the end, but you say 6 to 8 weeks, like, that's it. He'll be back 2 months, he's done. He'll have to get in. He'll have to get his fitness back. Then he'll have to get his match fitness back. And then it's a chance for us to... And as I say, after we had that potential question mark in the striker positions, we acted, we moved, we went out and brought Isak, we dealt with it. Will we see that again? Just to mention it, another position people are talking about is obviously the wing situation. I think everyone's pretty happy with Miggy. And look, I like Maxi. I think Joe Linton does a decent job out there as well. But it's not somewhere that we couldn't look at. And then people talk about left back as well. Target has he fallen out of favour, or is Dan Burn just elite? So we just play him there. I get it, because he technically isn't a left back and people potentially want to see more there. But it's working. We've got one of the best defensive records or have the best defensive record in the Premier League right now. You know, don't fix it if it's not broken. And I think Target is a great backup. And also the way we play with Trippier so high up the pitch, we're basically playing with 3 centre-backs anyway. So for me, although I've spoken about the midfield situation, it's bring a player in who's going to add, who's going to help with that oomph. If it helps bring in a bit of depth, a bit of extra, something a little bit different, but we've put ourselves in such a good place, I want to see us use it and use this window to try and propel even further. But yeah, if we can keep going the way we are, got to ride the wave, we've got to enjoy it. And if we're going to add a little bit extra, I think it would really help. And what's different going into this January window as well? The summer, look, it was exciting. There was a lot going on. I absolutely loved it. Dan Ashworth has been in for a while now. And I do not doubt that heading into this January window, he's already got his list. He's got his plans. And he knows what he needs to do. And as I've mentioned about links and reports of players, there's not been loads. I think because it's the Christmas, it's off the back of the World Cup, there's been a lot going on. I think that'll change when we actually hit January and everything the clock starts ticking down. I think there'll be a lot more coming out. There'll be a lot more to talk about. But I also think it's because in the summer we were going, can we go here, can we go there? It's different this time. We're already doing great before we bought anyone. And then because Dan Ashworth will have his little list and will have probably done a lot of work already, hopefully on a Maddison deal. But we bring these kind of guys in for a reason, and there's no doubt they'll be working behind the scenes trying to get something going. Let me know your thoughts on the John Joe Shelvey situation down below. Would you like to see him return, help finish off the season, get him that extra 2 games so that he can have his year extension? Or is the fact that he's had these injury troubles maybe a sign that later in his career he might struggle for another season? Let me know your thoughts on that. Is that a position we should strengthen because Shelvey isn't there? Or do you think maybe we have enough? What do you reckon about the Dan Burn left-back question? Do we have enough on the wings? And who is the signing you would like to see this January? We've already seen other teams go out. We saw Liverpool bring in Gakpo on a very good fee, in my opinion. Can Newcastle go out and do something very similar? Alright guys, thanks for watching as always. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. As I say, I will be at St James's Park on Saturday. The days are all over the place at the moment. On Saturday to see us take on Leeds on New Year's Eve. Yeah, I'm hoping it's a win and we can celebrate going into the new year. Yeah. Alright guys, thanks for watching as always. Hope you enjoyed. Look out for new videos and I'll catch you later.